Hello everyone, it's Cameron and welcome to another video. Now today I'm going to do something a bit different, but today I'm going to be talking about debut albums. So I'm going to go over the debut albums I've heard and the ones I like and just talk about in this video. This will, however, this was just a video that I just felt like kind of doing at the last minute. I thought about doing best second albums, but I kind of thought, no, I'd like to do debuts. So this will not include albums I haven't yet heard. So it won't be including Bob Dylan's debut album. It won't be including Travis's first album, because those are two albums I've yet to really hear. And same for the Electric Light Orchestra album and Queen's first album. They'll probably get put in the video in another... Maybe if I ever do this video again, then I might talk about them. So yeah, but they'll probably save them for first time listens video. Okay, so we're going to start with this debut album. Elvis Presley's debut from 1956. This is a great rock and roll album. It was almost kind of like, you know, this artist appeared from out of nowhere. But Elvis had been on Sun Records in the 1950s, and then his contract was sold on to RCA in 55, 56, and then he became internationally well known with Heartbreak Hotel and Hound Dog. And then RCA kind of put this album out, and it was a mix of the Sun leftovers and the RCA recordings that Elvis had just done. But there's some great stuff in here like Blue Suede Shoes, I'm Counting on You, One Side Love Affair, Tutti Frutti, Money Honey. So yeah, really great album, and yeah, just one that I really like. And it was definitely probably the first, one of the first sort of major albums by a major act, you know, and yeah, definitely a great album. Up next in the debut album is the Everly Brothers. This is their debut album from 1957. Really good album. I've heard these songs on compilation albums, but yeah, it's still a really good album. I really like This Little Girl of Mine, Bye Bye Love, Brand New Heartache, I Wonder If I Care As Much, Wake Up Little Susie, Should We Tell Him, Hey Doll Baby. This is pretty much, you know, Phil and Dawn just kind of starting out in the scene, and yeah, just some really, generally some good songs, and it kind of captures, these debut albums kind of capture a bit of an exciting sound. This is an example, and the Elvis one's much the same. This kind of captures a bit of an exciting sound that these acts are new and young and fresh, and they're kind of starting out to make it big, and as it says up there, they're off and rolling. That's what I think the reissues have often referred to this album as. But yeah, really great, another really good debut. Up next we have Johnny Cash with his Hot and Blue Guitar. I probably should have put that before actually. This actually came out before. This was actually 58, but I think some sources say 57 for some reason. Good debut album. This is a bit of a rockabilly country album, but still really good album. I like the Rock Island Line, his version of Rock Island Line, Country Boy, Cry Cry Cry, So Doggone Lonesome, I Was There When It Happened, I Walked the Line, Record of the Old 97, Folsom Prison Blues. So it's mostly the kind of Sun hits, as well as, you know, a few other tracks that Johnny recorded during the period he was at Sun from 55 till 58, till that point actually. But yeah, really good debut album, and one that I really like quite a bit. And again, quite an exciting sound, but there are some kind of downbeat tracks, but then again, all albums are kind of like that, you know, in a sense. But yeah, really good debut album. Johnny Cash with his Hot and Blue Guitar. Up next is one Roy Orbison Sings Lonely in Blue, 1961. Now, I think this was actually believed to be his second album, but it now actually is established that this came out first before the Roy Orbison at the Rock House album. Again, this has the hits Only the Lonely and Blue Angel, both of which are great. It's also got other great ones like Blue Avenue, Come Back to Me, My Love, his version of Don Gibson's I'd Be a Legend in My Time, I'm Hurtin', 22 Days, which was written by Gene Pitney, and I'll Say It's My Fault. So yeah, really good debut album. Probably one of my favourite debut albums. It's not one I've heard for a long time, but it's one I really enjoy. This kind of came at a time when rock and roll seemed to be kind of dying off. There've been a lot of changes that happened within the rock and roll world. You know, Elvis, of course, was in the army and was kind of appearing in movies mostly. Jerry Lee Lewis had been kind of seen as an outcast for marrying his child bride. Chuck Berry was in jail. Buddy Holly had obviously died. So yeah, Roy Orbison was kind of at a time when there wasn't seem to be much happening, as with the next artist I'll discuss. But yeah, really great debut album, and yeah, just really good first album, I must say. These 60s and 50s albums kind of get overlooked a bit, because at that era it was really mostly about the singles, and the albums were like the hit singles and filler. But I don't really see it in that case. I just see them as albums, you know. And this one is Runaway with Del Shannon, his debut album from 1961. Brilliant debut album again, probably one of my favourite debut albums. I really like the track Misery, which is very similar to Runaway, which this has it on. It does a good version of Elvis's, his latest Flame. Daydreams is really good as well. The Prom. Wake Up Crying, of course, Runaway, Lies, and Jodie as well. Yeah, some really brilliant tracks in here with Dell's great vocal performance, and even Max Crook's synth keyboard Musitron sounds as well. Capture the kind of angst in the lyrics in some of these songs. So yeah, really, really brilliant album. Probably one of my favourite albums, Runaway with Del Shannon. And then we get, now this video won't include any solo members from bands. This will just be bands or artists. There won't be any solo albums thrown in this video. So yeah, we'll get the Beatles' Please Please Me, and again I've reviewed this one as I reviewed Elvis's first album as well. Really great debut album. I Saw Her Standing There. What a great way to start it off. Misery, Ask Me Why, Please Please Me, Love Me Do You Want No Secret, and There's a Place. Great originals, but also great covers like Twist and Shout, Anna Go to Him, Baby It's You. A Taste of Honey's pretty good. One I've kind of grown to like a bit. Yeah, just a brilliant debut album. It has like a rough, raw, and exciting sound to it, and it's just one that I've really enjoyed. This was like, for me, the Beatles album, the first studio album. I know the greatest hits like the Red, Blue, and the number ones, but this was the first Beatles album I really heard all the way through and I really loved. And it was definitely a favourite of mine when I was really getting into the band back when I was like 12, so back in 2013, summer 2013. So it came at a time when I'd left primary, was leaving primary school, going into secondary school. So I've got a lot of sentimental value for this this album. So yeah, really, really great album. Please Please Me, one of my favourite albums of all time. Then we get the Rolling Stones' debut from 1964. Really great album. Pretty good album. I liked Route 66, Not Fade Away, Carol, Walking the Dogs, good as well. I kind of know from like the American edition, because I've heard it on the American edition, but I've yet to see the UK edition, which I probably should have got my kind of 2003 reissue, which is the American one. But anyway, still a really good album, I must say. Yeah, the Rolling Stones' debut. And this is a different one, but this is Simon and Garfunkel, Wednesday Morning 3 AM, 1964. Initially, with this album, I was kind of, I wasn't as keen on it in first listen, but then a few listens I grew to really like it. I really, You Could Tell the World, Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream, Bleecker Street, Sparrow, Benedictus, Sounds of Silence, He Was My Brother. Pretty much the whole album's great. I must say, they did a really good version of Bob Dylan's The Times They Are Changing. I like the title track, Sounds of Silence, which later became a hit when it was eventually overdubbed. So yeah, the whole album's just really good folky kind of album in a sense, and it was kind of eventually a lot different to what we got, to what became of Simon and Garfunkel, but still really good album, Wednesday Morning 3 AM. Then we get The Who, My Generation, 1965. Again, kind of rough, raw, exciting sound, new band starting out in the scene, The Who. I really liked Out in the Street, The Good's Gone, La La Lies, the title track My Generation, The Kids Are Alright, It's Not True, A Legal Matter, I'm a Man, which is a version, I think, the Bo Diddley song, and a couple of James Brown covers as well. So yeah, really great debut, rough, raw, exciting, and yeah, just a really, really good good album, I must say. Another one of my favourite debuts, My Generation by The Who. Then we get Elton John, Empty Sky, 1969, and it's not a bad album, it's pretty good. I'll have to kind of read it off either the gatefold or the record label, so I'll just read it off the gatefold. Title track's pretty good, Valhalla, Skyline Pigeon's really good as well. But it's been a long time, The Scaffold, but it's kind of been a long time since I've heard the album. I really need to kind of hear the album again and get a bit of a fresher listen to it. But again, this was kind of a different style to Elton, to what we eventually got with the pop rock 70s, Your Song, Rocket Man, Crocodile Rock, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. All of a sudden he's a big act by the 70s. So it was before Elton became a big act in the 70s, but still a really kind of interesting listen, and it kind of gives a sense of what kind of Elton's music was about. And then all of a sudden by the 70s he was this global phenomenon. So yeah, pretty good album, Empty Sky. Then we get REO Speedwagon's debut album, released in 1971. This one, pretty good. Like Gypsy Woman's Passion, 157 Riverside Avenue, which became a live set in their act, Lay Me Down, Sophisticated Lady, 5 Men Were Killed Today. So yeah, not bad album, kind of rock and roll, bit of Creedence Clearwater Revival type of style, and a bit of a rock and roll vibe to it as well. So yeah, really, really good album, I must say. And this was before like they became the pop ballad band with Keep On Loving You, Roll With The Changes, Time For Me To Fly, Can't Fight This Feeling, loads of great songs that they would eventually come up with in the late 70s and into the early 1980s. So yeah, good album, REO Speedwagon. Then we get Bruce Springsteen's debut, Greets from Raspberry Park, 1973. And again, this album's pretty good. I actually quite like this one. Blinded by the Light, Growing Up, Does This Bus Stop at 82nd Street, For You, and It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City and Spirit in the Night as well. Now, all these songs in the intervening years have been done better in the live shows, but still a really good album, I must say. And again, this was before like Bruce became the big star with Born to Run and great albums like Darkness, The River, Born in the USA, and other albums that have followed. And Bruce is still going to this very day as well, still bringing out great albums in the recent years as well. So yeah, brilliant album. No, pretty good, must say. Pretty good. Now we got another one of my favourite debuts, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' first album, released in 1976. I really liked Rockin' Around With You, the hits Breakdown, American Girl, and the other great rarities like Hometown Blues, The Wild One Forever, anything that's rock and roll, Stranger in the Night, Fooled Again, Mystery Man. So yeah, really great debut album, really great rocky, sound to it. The press, and the UK music press particularly, saw this album as a kind of new wave punk album, but a really great rock album nonetheless. And Tom Petty would later come on with great albums like Damn the Torpedoes and Full Moon Fever and Long After Dark as well, and other great albums in his catalogue as well. So yeah, almost a taster of probably what was to kind of come ahead for Tom and his career in the intervening years. So yeah, great album. Then we get Foreigner's debut album, released in 1977. Really great album, feels like the first time, Cold as Ice, Star Rider, Head Knocker. Just a really brilliant album. I Need You as well, At War With The World, Long Long Way From Home. Brilliant album. This is kind of like Foreigner, a bit of a hard rock vamp, but AOR as you would probably describe it sometimes, but still a really, really great album. And it was kind of different to what they eventually came up with eventually songs like Waiting For The Girl Like You, I Want To Know What Love Is. So they eventually came up with ballads later on in their career, but still a really great album and really great album. I think a lot of people would really highly rate this album over some of the other stuff that came along, but still brilliant. Meat Loaf, Bat Out of Hell. I was never the biggest Meat Loaf fan, but I did quite like a few of his songs. This was his proper debut album. If you don't, unless you count Stoney and Meat Loaf, which was kind of an album, but this was his first kind of major album in a sense, released in 1977. Whole album's fantastic. This is seen as one of the greatest albums of all time, and it definitely is. Bad Out of Hell, You Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth, Heaven Can Wait, All Red Up, No Place to Go, Paradise by Dashboard Light, and For Crying Out Loud. 2 out of 3 ain't bad as well. The whole album is just fantastic. Just what can you say about this album? It's just fantastic. Great hard rock sound, almost kind of exciting in some places, and some of the melodrama as well is like, wow, just fantastic. Then we get the Blues Brothers. Now, I don't think I've ever talked about this duo too much, but the Blues Brothers were from the Saturday Night Live television show, and of course we know them for the famous movie, but the Blues Brothers even did albums as well. This was the debut, Briefcase Full of Blues, mostly a live recording, but still a really great album. I liked Hey Bartender. They of course were with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, Jake and Elwood. Hey Bartender, Mission with a Kid, Rubber Biscuit, which Elwood does, Groove Me, Soul Man, which is probably one of their most famous songs, Flip, Flop and Fly as well, great as well. So yeah, great album and a great band as well, with people like Steve Cropper and Donald Duck Dunn, Matt Guitar Murphy. So yeah, really great album, really great band. Again, exciting sound to it. It was recorded like during their support opening slot for Steve Martin. One album I forgot to show, but I just thought it was Bertie Higgins' album, Just Another Day From Paradise. Again, great album. Forgot to bring it up with me, but yeah, if I ever do the video again, I'll probably show it in that one. But anyways, here's Traveling Wilburys Volume 1, of course, the supergroup with Bob Dylan, Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, George Harrison. Some people have just talked about it. Brilliant album. This was just kind of them getting together and made this album in, like, I think a couple of weeks. So just really brilliant. Handled with Care, Dirty World, Rattled, Last Night, Not Long Anymore, Congratulations, End of the Line. But the whole album is just fantastic, I must say. Yeah, just a great album. I know they later did the Wilburys album Volume 3, which was good, but it wasn't as great as this album. It's just a brilliant album, and the fact that all 5 artists involved had careers before the Traveling Wilburys, I think kind of probably made them quite successful. But I think the fact that even introduced some of the acts to a new mainstream audience as well, because they probably knew George Harrison through the Beatles, they knew Jeff Lynne through ELO, but there's probably some people that didn't know Roy Orbison or maybe Bob Dylan, or I think some people probably would have been aware of Tom Petty back in the day. But so yeah, this kind of maybe introduced some of these acts to a whole new audience as well, and made them go, oh yeah, I'd like to check out either Roy or Bob's careers. So yeah, brilliant album, and it's a fun album to listen to. It almost kind of sounds like they had fun making this album, which I know which they have said in interviews that they did. We've got Oasis, definitely, maybe of course, showing this record, and Oasis are on their reunion tour just now. Britpop band from Manchester, but really great album. I like Rock and Roll Star, Shaker Maker, Live Forever, Supersonic, Cigarettes and Alcohol, Slide Away, and Married with Children. This was released in 1994. A great Britpop debut album, and yeah, just a brilliant album. Rough, raw, exciting sound, as again, like I say in a lot of these albums I've just talked about. But yeah, really great album. Oasis, definitely, maybe 1994. Then we get The Killers and Hot Fuss. This is their debut from 2004. Great album. The Killers are like band from Las Vegas. I've often talked about in the channel, but yeah, some great stuff on here. I liked the hits, Mr. Brightside, Smell Like You Mean It, Somebody Told Me, all these things that I have done. I mean, you've got a great debut album if you've got those 4 songs. But there's other great ones here like Glamorous Indie Rock and Roll, Everything Will Be Alright, Midnight Show, Believe Me Natalie, and yeah, just a really great album. Again, a really kind of great hard sound, and a bit of an exciting sound too in some places as well. Again, The Killers would go on to make some great records as well, like Human, and you know, the Battleborn albums as well. Some of the other great songs they've done as well, like Read My Mind as well. So yeah, one of my favourite bands there, The Killers. I've been to see them live twice. Yeah, great band. And the last one up is an unusual one again, but it's Mika, Life in Cartoon Motion from 2007. Really great debut album. I mean, Grace Kelly, My Interpretation, Love Today, Any Other World, Big Girl, You Are Beautiful, Stuck in the Middle, Happy Ending. Just a great kind of poppy sort of debut album. I know that Mika is kind of seen as a bit of... it's not kind of seen as cool to like sometimes, but you can't help but really like it. It's just a really great debut album. Mika's done a lot of other good music since this album. And The Boy Who Knew Too Much in 2009 was another great album as well. And I liked his recent one, My Name Is Michael Holbrook, in 2019. He did one recently in 23, so a few years ago, but it was kind of French, and I didn't really bother with that one. But so yeah, good debut album. And I know people say this was like the only great thing he did, and then he kind of, you know, went off. But you know, he didn't go off. He still made albums, but they weren't as successful as Life in Cartoon Motion or The Boy Who Knew Too Much. Still pretty well received as well. But yeah, really great kind of pop album. Again, an exciting sound, bit of an exciting sound to it as well. Again, this is a favourite of mine from way back when I was a young primary school boy, from I think when it came out at the time. I think I was probably aware of it when it came out, or I might have been aware of it later on. But yeah, really great album, Mika. So that's it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you've got any favourite debut albums, leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe, and turn notifications on if you want to see more content. If this is your first time kind of coming across the channel. But we'll see you next time.